Welcome back to When in Vietnam This Week. In this episode, a team of musical artists from the UK will show you how they bring UK underground music to Vietnam. And later on, meet an art studio with the aim to spread the love for painting and drawing to people young and old alike. Stay tuned and enjoy this week's When in Vietnam. Most people would agree that music is an art form that's flexible and ever-evolving. The birth of new genres and subgenres is a common occurrence in the music industry. Some music becomes so popular, it eventually breaks into the mainstream, while other forms remain exclusive to their listeners in the underground music scene. Despite that, there are still people who strive to make a statement for their underground genres in the mainstream.
I know about hard days. Lately I've been in a dark place. Swerve some man, but it weren't a car chase. Hands on a stick and it weren't an arcade. Slow down, take time. Couldn't work me if you spat your best rhyme. Cause I spray like a Mac 10 or Tech 9. I ain't talking limelight when I say I take shine. If you wanna know what I'm for that, then go back to your yard.
Meet Beats, Bars and Breaks, or B3. Hailing from the UK, born in Vietnam, this team of musical artists are dedicated to bringing the sound of UK underground music to Vietnam.
So basically, beats represents the instrumental beats that we rap on top of, and then bars represents the lyrics that we're rapping on top of the music, and breaks is more about the production element, you know, so the drum breaks that we engineer and make into hip-hop and grime and drum and bass and the amen break and everything like that. So it's just the three words combined into one to make beats, bars and breaks. We had the name from before, but when I came to Vietnam, I met up with the crew, and we're all very like-minded people, all into performing, either DJing or rapping, and a lot of us are making beats as well. So we all came together and decided to work together on doing some events, and then later on that turned into making more music and releasing it independently under our own label. So yeah, it's been a really good journey.
You might be wondering, what exactly is the UK sound in their music? It's called grime, a music genre that emerged in London in the early 2000s. Grime involves rap and beats, but what exactly makes it different from hip-hop?
Grime music we would say it's like the UK version of hip-hop really. It's at 140 BPM, so that little bit faster, and it's got quite an aggressive sound, but you know, and we were just rapping on it about our history, where we come from, the kind of social commentary, and just rapping about our life, really.
I think it's a uniquely UK sound with a lot of influences from other musical scenes and other places in the world. So I would say grime is a mixture of like hip-hop and UK sounds that came before grime, such as UK garage, even drum and bass influenced grime. And I think what they all have in common is their bass-heavy music. I would say over time it's all kind of merged, and with the youth they came out with this new sound with all of the influences from bass music from the Caribbean, bass-heavy music, hip-hop from America, and some of our own genres already in the UK, like garage and drum and bass, and they all kind of mixed together and made this new sound called grime. When I was young, it was brand new, and it just come out. So yeah, I think for especially me and my generation, it's something we hold on to as our unique UK sound.
Grime takes elements from different genres. Musicians combine the drums from drum and bass, the vocal style of UK garage, and some rhythm from dancehall. With this fusion that united different music lovers, grime gained traction and more followers. That's essentially how grime grew in popularity and became its own genre.
I would say it's more of a live genre of music. So it was kind of started in clubs, and it's designed for clubs, for parties in clubs, or raves, as we call them. So yeah, it's kind of a mixture between dance music and rapping, I would say. One way to describe grime. So you can dance to it in a club because it's fast enough and it's bassy enough. But you can also rap on it and you can be lyrical on it to an extent. And I think it's kind of more hyper energy than hip hop. A lot of the time. Because it's so fast, bass heavy, and yeah, energetic, has an energetic sound. So I would say that's what sets apart B3, and especially at the beginning when we first started doing what we were doing, just having a DJ in a club playing some kind of dance music with MCs rapping live. So it's less of a performance of our songs and more of a set of music. So it could be like a 1 hour set with music to dance to and MCs rapping as well.
Grime is one of those genres that, although not well known around the globe, has a loyal fan base that keeps it alive. Grime has had some success in different parts of the world, but it still doesn't get international recognition. Grime's biggest fan base remains in the UK. Groups like Beats, Bars and Breaks will likely be the ones to bring more popularity to this genre. In Vietnam, they'll have to make some adjustments to their tracks to better fit the Vietnamese market.
Like we do think about our audience when we're making the music, so especially when I think about Vietnamese people listening to my music, I sometimes don't want to use too much slang because there's no way Vietnamese people are really going to understand all London slang, of course. Even if they are great at speaking English, they might have missed out on the slang. And I want my audience to understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, I'll take out slang sometimes. In terms of the actual sound, it's quite different to a lot of Vietnamese music, I would say. So some people might be quite unsure of how to take it at first. But I think often once they start listening to it, they get it, and then they start to enjoy it. So yeah, I think sometimes at first people don't get it, but hopefully after a while of listening to it, they get used to it and they think it's something different, something new.
When we go to a new place, maybe they might not have much of a grime scene there or much of a UK hip-hop scene there. So they don't know any of the lyrics that we're rapping to, but they're just so excited to hear it, so it's a brand new energy, you know? And I'm not sure we'd really get that back home because, you know, there is quite a lot of hip-hop artists and a lot of grime artists and people hear it quite often. So in Vietnam, it's always nice to travel to different places and get that new energy from people that might not be so familiar with our sound.
Prior to the pandemic, the group toured across Vietnam and performed at events with other expat and local artists. Losing opportunities to perform on stage as a result of COVID has forced the band to make music exclusively in the studio. Their outlook remains positive, though, taking the setback in stride and with a smile.
The COVID-19 situation was obviously an enormous challenge for anyone working in any industry. Musician events especially, because there are no gigs. And the first kind of version of what we did, we were always playing live. Gigs every weekend through the middle of the week, and we were very much focused on performance. Once we could no longer do that as much, we needed to adapt and get into the studio more. So I think with Corona, we spent less time on stage, but a lot more time in the studio making music. We're poised, ready to go. Whenever we get the official go-ahead, we'd love to play some gigs in 2022, probably more realistic. But yeah, definitely the biggest challenge with coronavirus was not being able to perform, festivals being cancelled. But it was good in a way because it meant that we could pivot, adapt, and start to focus on making more content, which in the long run, we can actually look back on and be really happy with, and kind of see memories from our time here in Vietnam with the music or the videos that we maybe couldn't look back on as fondly with an event poster. You know, from an event you only have the memories, but if you make something in here, you've got that forever.
it's not that much different for me. If anything, it's less distractions and more time to focus on the music. Obviously, we're in the age of the internet, so we can collaborate with people without even being in the same room. You know, people can, all the boys have got mics. I'm sure most rappers do. They can send verses, we can send instrumentals. It's a good time to be making music, really. It's one thing you can do without actually having to be with people, so you know it works. But we much prefer to make music together, obviously, and be creative together, but you have to adapt in these times.
Despite influences from different music, grime is a genre of its own. And even if it hasn't gained international popularity yet, Beats, Bars and Breaks is determined to bring the music genre to new audiences, starting in Vietnam, and look forward to future collaborations with others, especially Vietnamese artists.
Now is probably a really good opportunity to sort of ask for any up-and-coming Vietnamese artists or Western artists, but we'd really like to focus more on making tracks with Vietnamese artists. To get in touch, we'd love to work on projects with anyone. If you like heavy bass music and you like to rap, get in touch through any of our social media channels, and we'd love to work with you. You know, making music's what we love to do, and we want to make as much music with as many different people as possible.
A group of young children is learning how to make their own Christmas paintings at Craftwork Art Studio. The studio's founder, Katja, says she wants to spread the love of painting and making the art of creating crafts attainable to anyone. Katja even organizes private classes for families who want to expose their kids to art.
I opened Craftwork Art Studio because I love creating art and teaching art to everyone. I have taught many children who are very creative and can create amazing artworks. Languages don't matter in terms of art, because I believe art has its own language. Sometimes we have students who are new to painting and drawing. They surprise themselves with their own artworks. That's probably the reason why I opened this studio, to gather creative people and create beautiful paintings.
Apart from classes, Craftwork Art Studio also invites artists in the area to their live drawing events. Craftwork Art Studio is actually part of a bigger place called Arch. With the aim of creating an open space for all kinds of art and supporting artists, its co-founder Matthew shares his thoughts on how such small art studios like Katja's can contribute to the development of the local art scene and the art community.
I think that more studio spaces, more art spaces and open spaces are very important for fostering the community in Vietnam, and Arch is happy to support many businesses that exist within Arch, that being art studios. We have Yat Thai on the roof, which supports a lot of street art and culture, and we plan to open more art studios even within surrounding music, surrounding visual elements, and of course painting art has always been a big key of what keeps this place alive. So that's why we were so excited when Katja came to us with the idea for Craftwork Studio. It means that we have more space for people not only to show their art, but to learn and to grow with us, as we are only a new business operating just over a year. And just like any big building, it needs a soul for people to want to return, and these studios are the soul of what keeps our business alive and what keeps, I think, the community interesting.
I come from Cape Town, South Africa, and when I was there I used to work in the South African National Gallery and a big contemporary art museum. So I was in that industry, and then coming into Vietnam, it's actually been lovely because you have your big galleries, but it feels like there's more space for creative projects and exhibitions to be organized. Like, it feels like Vietnam is blooming in a way. It's like burgeoning, the art scene. It's opening up right now. So I feel more excited to be here in Vietnam than in Cape Town. There's so much talent, like the young Vietnamese students or even like high school students are so creative, and I just feel like we can showcase what Vietnam's coming up with, and hopefully like bring that to the world stage, maybe in like a big exhibition or like cultural exchange. But yeah, it's a very exciting time to be here right now. I feel very lucky to be in this country.
In recent years, not only has Vietnam's economy developed to become more dynamic and modern, its art scene has also flourished and is now more diverse than ever before. With the rise of the internet and media, the country has been exposed to many foreign artists who've chosen to pursue their artistic career in Vietnam. But many ask, why Vietnam? Well, there's lots of reasons, but one of the most important is that Vietnam's historically rich culture is now at a turning point while it encounters inspiration from modern cultures. This has created a uniquely blended culture. Susan Lecht is the director of Art Vietnam Gallery, and over her 27 years of living in Vietnam, she has seen a variety of changes in the art scene.
Of course, I've seen a huge change in Vietnam since 1994, but I think even then, when the country, of course, was not nearly as developed as it is now, it was always a really wonderful, fertile ground for artists. There's so many art materials that artists can use here, from all different kinds of mediums, bronze and handmade papers, and there's just a lot of actual physical materials that artists have access to. But then, of course, gradually as Vietnam opened up, and of course now with the advent of the internet, and artists are traveling a lot and they're going to having residencies in many different foreign countries. So they're bringing that outside influence. And also their modern lives, their lives are changing so much. So I think that's, for me, that makes a really rich, vibrant art scene here.
In addition to the cultural mixture of old and new, there's also a lot of unique traits specific to Vietnamese people that attract artists to this country.
I think in Vietnam it just offers an environment that's more conducive to making art. You can get materials, you can get studio space. People are very generous in sharing information. I think that foreign artists that come here, they're attracted to the country because it's, in outsiders' eyes, Vietnam is exotic. I mean, it's still exotic to me, and I've been here for so long. As far as artistic inspiration, I think from the ancient religions, the Mother Goddess worship, Buddhism, folk art, just your traditional lifestyle, the way the ancestor worship, all of these aspects and rituals in Vietnamese life are they're fascinating to foreigners, and that's very rich inspiration.
Art is completed by the viewers, and Vietnamese people are open-minded and welcoming to all different kinds of art. With the rise of technology-based art in recent years, Vietnamese have fortunately had access to a wide variety of new art forms. For example, this mobile application allows users to see visual art and watch public art performances.
Thân em là một người cũng rất là thích bộ môn nhảy hiện đại. Nhưng mà trước đây thì có khi chúng ta phải tới các cái sự kiện lớn mới có thể xem được. Bây giờ thì chỉ cần app là chúng ta đã có thể xem được. Thấy đây là một điều rất là hay và thú vị ạ.
Tôi thấy các bạn trẻ là hay đến đây, nhất là các bạn sinh viên ấy, đến đây xong mà cứ ngửa lên chỗ cái giếng rời này. Nhiều bạn đến tò mò đến xem lắm. Cá rất là đẹp, những cái tác phẩm nghệ thuật như thế này chúng tôi thấy rất là lạ.
The cultural mix of old and new, the traditions nurtured through ups and downs of history, and the people's open-mindedness all contribute to the development of Vietnam's culture and art of the past. Exposing itself to the cultural essence of humanity and attracting more and more international artists will show the world just how beautiful Vietnam is. And that's wrapped up this year of When in Vietnam. Thank you very much for tuning in. In the meantime, if you want to rewatch our program from 2021, you can download VTVgo from the App Store, Google Play, or visit youtube.com/VTV4Go. Bye for now.